Hey, Geeky Garage. I want to show you something really crazy that I found today. Check this out. So, I was out here behind our building looking for some scrap wood. This is where we would store all the scrap wood. And look at this. This is crazy. Behind this board. Oh, dude, this is heavy. Nope. No, sir. I'm just going to cover this back up. Hi, welcome to another episode of Tom's Geeky Garage. Today, we're going to be showing how we made this. This is a cable-driven animatronic puppet. It's made of silicone, 3D printed parts, and the controls are also all 3D printed. So stick around and you can see how we made this. So I was watching this documentary about Jim Henson Studios, and they were showing a lot of the little cable puppets they made for some of the older productions, and it gave me the urge to make my own. I initially was going to make the Velociraptor from Jurassic Park that was an egg. But I settled on a fetal alien baby. I came across a picture of one and I thought that looked cool, and decided that's what we're going to go with. So for like most of my puppets, I always start with the teeth. I don't know why. It just seems like the best place to jump off. I didn't film me actually sculpting these teeth, but we're going to just go ahead and cast these with some clear casting resin. Like in my other videos where I make teeth, I do it all the same. I start with the dental color, like the teeth color, and I'll fill the mold and allow it to dry. After it dries, I pull it out of the mold, and then I use a Dremel tool to actually remove the gum of the first mold. And then I put the gum-colored resin into the mold, and then push the teeth back down into it, and that basically replaces everything I've removed with the Dremel tool. It replaces it with the gum color, so you get something like this. Now the last step for teeth is to put a clear, just a coating of clear over it, and that gives them a nice wet, glossy, spit look, like they're wet. Now we can go into Cinema 4D, and we're going to start building the geometry for the mechanical parts that will actually drive the movement of the alien. Here you can see me just kind of using the image for scale, and I started just piece by piece designing the jaw mechanism, the neck mechanism, and the tail mechanism. We have this center core area where we'll be running our cables into. The cables we're going to use for this are actually nylon tube. I decided to go with like a monofilament driven system rather than a cable. For me, it's just easier to get and easier to work with. So the plan is we're going to 3D print these out. Oh, actually, also we have to design the controllers. Here's the controller. It's a real simple two-part controller with a kind of a U-joint between, and the cables will come into the bottom and then connect to the top section, and then I'll be able to tilt and twist and pull that controller, and that will make the puppet move on the other end by pulling and pushing cables. So here you can see after we got the controller printed and a test tail printed, we're just testing to make sure everything's working the way we had planned. So you can see the nylon tubes going from the controller into the back of the tail, and then down the core of each of those is a small monofilament, which is like fishing string, that can hold, like, each string can hold like 50 pounds, I think. So it's, that would be like 200 pounds there. Now that we've tested it, we're going to go to the printer and actually 3D print off all the actual mechanical parts and start the assembly of the mechanical underskeleton of this alien. So yeah, here it is, kind of assembled, and I'm starting to actually apply all the nylon tubing into the sockets, and after we get them all plugged in, we'll start running the monofilament up through and connecting all the connections It's basically like tendons, muscles and tendons. And the jaw, I used a little bit of a rubber band here to kind of give it a little bit of a feedback. So we've built the stage, and we have mounted that skeleton onto the stage and connected all the connectors to the controllers. So we have one controller that controls the tail movement, and the other one, you can see, controls the head and jaw movement. Now this is a fetal alien, so it's like a baby. It doesn't need a lot of movement. It just needs to kind of like wiggle and have very slight movement. I didn't film the sculpting process, but you can see from photos here the sculpting. I didn't really go crazy with the details on it. I just kind of wanted to get it done. To be honest, this project took a lot longer than I wanted. It came out looking nice, but I could have definitely spent probably like a day sculpting it and getting it perfect, but I didn't. I think I sculpted this in about probably like 2 or 3 hours, you know, just trying to get it done. Now here's a shot of the mold. I used a brushable silicone to mold the alien. Now this is a first for me because I'm going to be pulling silicone out of this. So it's the first time for me to make a silicone mold and actually pull silicone out of it. But it worked, and here you can see me doing some last minute tweaks of the mechanism for the jaw, and next to it you can see the skin that we've pulled out of the mold. It's that pink and white looking thing. Right out of the mold, everything comes out the lightest color of the skin, so you always do like the lightest color, and here it's like a light pink, and then we'll airbrush it and paint all the dark colors in. So now we're doing a dry test of the skin. This is right out of the mold, so I'm not really gluing anything down. I'm just kind of testing the fit, you know. So it's really just you know, overlaying everything, giving it a little bit of animation, giving it a little movement, seeing if anything's getting binded up, and see if it's overstressing the frame or anything by the silicone being too dense. But just right off the bat, just kind of playing with some slight movements. Everything looks like it's moving pretty much the way we intended. So the next step is to basically glue this thing down to the skeleton, so the skin will get glued to the armature, and then we'll airbrush in all the actual colors and final dressing. So here you can see that. We've added some green screen, some particles or some paper behind there, kind of work as a green screen, and you can see here he's painted, and he is you know, he's pretty much almost ready to go. The last step on him would be we're going to add a little bit of kind of like a slimy kind of membrane over the skin to make him look wet, and then maybe some blood to kind of give it the appearance that, you know, maybe he's like freshly, I don't know, ripped out of a human or freshly born or something like that. But yeah, you can see how the silicone really absorbs light real well. That's silicone's really great for that. And now we've you can see we've added some slime to it and some blood, so it kind of takes it to that next level of grossness. So that's about it for this episode. I'm going to be doing another wire puppet. I decided I'm going to go back and do the Velociraptor coming out of the egg from Jurassic Park 1. I've always really loved that, and it's such a small little puppet, and it's very similar to this one as far as movement goes. So look forward to that.